Well, I want to welcome the panel, Tina McQueen and Joe Hildebrand. Great to have you guys
Lovely
with me.
to be here. How are you, mate?
At Sydney Opera House today saw hundreds of people from across the political and entertainment worlds gather to pay tribute to legendary Australian comedian Barry Humphries, who is, of course, most famous for his alter egos Dame Edna Everage and Sir Les Patterson. He was remembered at the service as a cultural icon, an internationally renowned genius and a great Australian.
Barry Humphries was one of the funniest people in the world, but you all know that. But he's also one of the kindest and most generous person to me.
Barry, you will never be strangled. You will never be silenced. Your voice still echoes, your wisdom still enlightens, and your friendship still resides deeply in my heart.
Tina, it's the end of an era for Australian comedy, isn't it?
Oh, it sure is. Just look at the people that came forward to pay their respect to him today. He was magnificent, so funny, so clever. I don't think we'll ever see anything like him, her again. Such a great loss.
What do you reckon, Joe? Will we ever see a comedian that good again? I mean, he was great.
I was actually talking about this with my best mate on the way over here. I mean, we are looking at, I think, what intellectuals like to call an inflection point in history when it comes to comedy, because all the funniest people are now on the right, it seems. Like, you look like people like, Dave Chappelle, who is arguably the greatest of all time, Ricky Gervais, of course, who is not, and again, a lot of these people actually don't see themselves as being on the right. I don't think they're on the right, and indeed aren't on the right. They would see themselves as small L liberals or progressive or whatever, but because they do stuff that pokes sacred cows, of course, the left just jumps all over them and calls them all sorts of names under the sun. And so I think with Barry Humphries, I think you're seeing something similar to what happened with Monty Python, where you have these figures who often came from, the best schools, but were still incredibly anti-establishment, irreverent, took the piss out of people who took themselves too seriously, and who would never be able to do what they do now. I mean, Life of Brian would never be able to be made now. John Cleese, of course, has gone on the warpath against woke because he realises that if he was born in this era, he'd have to be an accountant because he couldn't actually tell any of the jokes that he wanted to tell that made him famous. So it is really sad.
Disgraceful what Victoria tried to do to Barry Humphries, though. You know, that I know people close to him, and I know that hurt him dreadfully, and that's why the ceremony today was in Sydney.
Stripping him of the Melbourne Comedy Festival accolades. Yeah, these people cannot seem to help themselves, and it's the death of left-wing comedy.
Yeah. He will be greatly missed. All right, we were talking to Keith Pitt just a moment ago about climate change. Get this study from the UK. This is the Centre for Ecology and Hydrology in Edinburgh. They claim that gases in air exhaled from human beings is fueling global warming. So they've done a study to work out how much methane is in your breath when you breathe out. And the paper, and let me quote this, urges caution in the assumption that emissions from humans are negligible. So, Joe, what's next? Are we going to have a tax on breathing, do you reckon?
Oh, no, it doesn't go far enough. We can't just tax it, we've got to stop it altogether. We need to the only way we can save the human race is to wipe out all humans. And is it just human breath that does it, or does animal breath does it? Because I'm pretty sure all mammals breathe out pretty much the same stuff, don't they? And how is it news that we inhale oxygen and then exhale carbon dioxide and other gases that we don't want in our systems because they're not particularly good for that? Like, how is this a new thing? I do not understand this for the life of me.
Well, when I read these studies, Tina, I always think here is an academic who wanted to work out how can I get some funding, and so they decided let's do so, and anything connected with global warming, they'll get dollars for.
But I've got a great solution. Maybe there's a bit of truth to that, so just shut the left up. There's a lot of gas that would stop. So
That's right. Did you believe it or not? It is a true story.
I'd let you speak, Joe.
I drove a hydrogen car. An electric hydrogen car, which is great, all clean and green and everything. And it actually has on the display monitor a little picture of how many human beings you've saved.
Are you serious?
By driving. Yeah, it's amazing. By driving. So they'll calculate the amount of air that a human being will breathe in compared to how much you've
you just
purified.
Keep driving, you wouldn't stop.
This car.
Just keep saving people.
But now I realise that we're just saving the bloody humans who are killing us in the first place.
All right, it's almost Christmas. Let's talk about a nicer subject, although the Stonington City Council in Melbourne are stuffing this up. They've put signs across the community wishing everybody make merry, which begs the question, make merry what? Now, they've avoided the word Christmas, Tina, because they said, and I quote, there's a need for an inclusive way to acknowledge the different celebrations held in December. What's amazing is locals are going around vandalising the council signs because they're so annoyed with this "Make Merry" rather than "Merry Christmas." What are the council thinking?
It's just ridiculous. And you find this with all these councils, particularly in Victoria. It's insane, you know. So, yeah, vandal away, I say. And look, to be fully inclusive, bring back Christ into Christmas. There's a novel idea.
Well, I was going to say, Joe, is it non-inclusive to use the word Christmas?
This stuff just does my head in. And like what they don't realise, it's no surprise that it's happened in Melbourne because, of course, everyone in Sydney knows that 11 months of the year, the Daily Telegraph just waits to see the first Christmas Grinch emerge from the cracks in the woodwork. And everyone in Sydney, every local council in Sydney, every department, they know not to even try it. You know, they got a strong cop on the beat. Even Clover Moore, you know, as soon as it's November 1, Halloween's over, the biggest Christmas decorations you've ever seen go straight up. Melbourne, they clearly haven't got the memo. And all I would say is, if you want to make Christmas secular, fine, but you don't get the day off. You don't get the holidays.
Yep.
And you know what? Without Christmas, there isn't holidays. And if people are going around saying happy holidays, what do they think a holiday is? It's a holy day. Mm-hmm. So even if you wish someone happy holidays, you're in fact not being very inclusive of atheists. So I say no holidays whatsoever. We all walk all the time. We all wear grey overalls and we don't have any diversity whatsoever.
I think some from the left would love that, but it gets worse. We're just getting started on this Christmas stuff. I mean, in Tasmania, ambulance drivers have been told no wearing Christmas symbols. You can't put anything at all on your ambulance to celebrate Christmas because we need to be professional and safe, they've been told. Does having a Christmas decoration on your ambulance really endanger public safety, Tina?
No, and don't any of these people have kids? I mean, part of the joy in Christmas is seeing children light up at every possible Christmas symbol, Santa symbol. So I would say urge all those ambulance drivers and all workers out there to, you know, Santa up. I've got the earrings on. Ho, ho, ho.
Well, I mean they've been banned from doing this, Joe. If you were suffering a heart attack and a paramedic walks up and she's got like...
And they've got a sad hat on and say, sorry, no. Call me when a real paramedic comes along. And like this is this, and again, I just do not understand how anyone could form the link in their head that if someone celebrates Christmas, they therefore must be bad at their job. Mm-hmm. I mean, who even has the time to even think of that? So, what are the risks we got coming up in the next financial year, Jim? Well, we've done a longitudinal study that finds that people who wear Christmas decorations are less likely to be able to save lives.
So let me ask you, what's the real agenda here? Why are people doing this?
It is just bureaucracies, and you see this happen again and again, is bureaucracies being incredibly risk averse. They preempt offence often when there is no actual offence there in the first place. So often these things aren't in response to any complaints or anything like that. It's just crazy box-ticking bureaucrats thinking, all right, I've got to make sure that there is absolutely no way anyone could possibly get remotely upset or find fault with anything I'm doing. And this is what cripples bureaucracy in all other fields, because they're so scared of doing anything wrong or anything that might upset someone that they end up not doing anything at all.
But they also know there's not going to be any pushback, and that's why we should push back. You know, they expect no resistance.
Oh, they'll be pushed back. They'll be pushed back. And I think the Health Workers Union, good on them. The HSU has gone to town on them. They put the ho, ho, ho back into homeopathic medicine. That didn't make any sense.
Speaking of pushbacks, check out this video from the White House. This is their Christmas video. It's gone viral. No one likes it. Have a look. Tina, a fan of that Christmas video from the White House?
No, I am not. They've absolutely bastardised Tchaikovsky. As someone that saw Swan Lake last week, that sickens me. They want to take away all traditions, anything that's sacred. No, it's not even funny. It just disgusts me.
What do you reckon, Joe?
Did you say that was a video?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. I thought I was having an acid flash. Oh, no, I don't have to call the doctor. No, I just don't understand anything that is happening in the world. I mean, this is the ridiculous thing. I'm meant to be the token lefty. I can't defend any of this crap. It's terrible. It's Christmas, right? It's Christmas. It's, you know, even the proddies don't deserve Christmas. It's got to be the Holy Roman Apostolic Catholic Church or nothing. The rest of you all get back to work, go back to your desks, and you don't get the day off.
Hey, listen, we've only got 30 seconds left before we finish. I do want to ask you, Tina, about Gina Reinhardt, who's been voted business person Person of the Year by the Financial Review.
She has. I do a little bit of consulting for Mrs.
Worked with her,
Reinhardt,
yep.
and it was absolutely magnificent, well deserved. Of course, it will send the left nuts. I urge everyone to go on her website and read her speech. It's spectacular. She didn't hold back, and well deserved. A giant of an Australian.
Absolutely. Well done, Gina Reinhardt.